dumpster behind Romano's Italian kitchen had become my breakfast spot, not because I enjoyed it, but because they threw out bread at exactly 9:30 every morning, still warm sometimes, wrapped in plastic. I'm Charles Smith. 3 months ago, I was a licensed veterinarian with 16 years of experience. Now I was timing my life around garbage schedules. That October morning started like the others. Frost on my sleeping bag, hunger sharp enough to make me dizzy. I just found a half-eaten lasagna when I heard footsteps. Clean shoes, expensive ones that clicked with purpose. Charles James Smith. I turned slowly. The man standing there looked like money itself. Navy suit, silver tie, briefcase that gleamed in the gray morning light. Maybe 60 years old, perfectly styled hair despite the wind. "Who's asking?" My voice came out rough. 3 months on the streets changes how you sound. "My name is William Blackstone. I'm an estate attorney from New York." He reached into his coat and pulled out a photograph. "Is this you, taken in 2018? The photo showed me in my white veterinary coat, standing in front of my clinic, smiling like I owned the world, back when I had a home, a practice, a wife who I thought loved me. How did you get that?" "Your great-uncle Caleb Gomez passed away last month in Manhattan. You've been named in his will." I actually laughed. It came out harsh and bitter. Uncle Caleb, the man who sent me $5 in a birthday card every year until I turned 18, then nothing. I hadn't heard from him in 23 years. "Mr. Gomez knew about your veterinary practice in Cedar Falls. He knew about your divorce from Riley Rivera. He knew about your current circumstances." My current circumstances. I looked down at myself. Stained jeans I'd worn for 2 weeks, shoes held together with duct tape. "You mean he knew I was homeless?" "Yes. And he left you his entire estate." The lasagna container slipped from my hands. "His Manhattan penthouse, his yacht in the Hamptons, his investment portfolio? The total value is approximately $47 million. My legs went weak. I grabbed the dumpster's edge. "This is a scam." Blackstone pulled out documents. Death certificate, will, bar certification. "Everything is verifiable, Mr. Smith, but there is one condition." Of course there was. There was always a catch. "I cannot discuss it here. You must come to New York, to his penthouse, and watch a video message he recorded. Only then will you learn what's required." "And if I don't?" "You have 72 hours. If you refuse, the entire estate transfers to an alternate beneficiary." He paused. "Your ex-wife, Riley Rivera." The world tilted. 6 months ago, Riley had laughed at me outside the courthouse. "No one will ever love a broke man like you," she'd said, climbing into her new boyfriend George's BMW. "You're going to die alone in the street, Charles." 18 months earlier, I had everything. My clinic on Maple Street wasn't much to look at, but it was mine. I'd built it from nothing, painted every wall myself, installed the surgery lights with my own hands. Then Riley asked for a divorce. "I've been seeing George Smith. He's an executive. He actually has ambition." The divorce destroyed me. The judge awarded Riley the house, half my clinic's value, and alimony that crushed my business. I had to close the clinic. Within 3 weeks, I was living in my truck. When that got repossessed, I had a backpack and nowhere to go. The last time I saw Riley was outside Walmart. She was with George, both carrying shopping bags, laughing. Then she saw me. "God, Charles, you smell," she'd said loud enough for others to hear. "This is what you become." George had pulled her toward his BMW, but she wasn't done. "You're pathetic. You're going to die alone, probably in some alley." That was 6 weeks ago. Every morning since, I'd heard those words. Now Blackstone was telling me Uncle Caleb had left me $47 million. But if I failed whatever test he designed, Riley would get everything. "Mr. Smith," Blackstone said, checking his Rolex, "I have a car waiting. We can be in New York by noon. Whatever your decision, at least give yourself a hot meal and a shower." I looked at the dumpster, at the alley where I'd learned to sleep with one eye open, at the life that no longer felt like living. "Give me 10 minutes. I need to tell someone I'm leaving."
I found Tom Mitchell 2 blocks over, sorting aluminum cans into his shopping cart with military precision. He was a Vietnam vet who'd been on the streets for 40 years. He'd taught me everything about surviving, which shelters were safe, how to stay warm, where the cops wouldn't bother you. "Tom," I called out, "something's happened." He looked up, his weathered face breaking into a gap-toothed smile. "Charlie, find breakfast?" "A lawyer just found me. Says my uncle died and left me money. A lot of money. If this is real, I might not be coming back." Tom set down his cans and really looked at me. "You remember what I told you your first week? Don't trust anyone offering free anything. The other thing." I thought back to those terrifying early days. Every door that closes, another one's waiting to open. You just gotta live long enough to find it. That's right. He reached into his cart and pulled out a watch, old but clean. "Found this last week. You'll need it more than me. Rich people care about time." The gesture broke something in me. This man, who had nothing, was giving me one of his few possessions. "Tom, I can't." "You can and you will." His voice went stern. "And if this thing is real, don't forget us out here. Don't become one of those people who crosses the street to avoid what they used to be. If this works out, I'll come back for you, I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep, Charlie. Just remember, we're human. That's all any of us want, to be seen as human." The ride to the airport was surreal. The private jet even more so. Blackstone handed me coffee and sandwiches, real coffee, turkey on fresh bread. I ate slowly, my shrunken stomach protesting. "Tell me about Uncle Caleb, the real him." Caleb Gomez was brilliant, eccentric, and completely alone by choice. He built his fortune in rare books and art authentication, but his real talent was reading people. Yet he chose to leave everything to a nephew he hadn't seen in decades. He kept files on every family member, your cousin's careers, your brother's business, and he had investigators sending reports monthly, your practice, your marriage, your collapse. He watched me become homeless and did nothing. He was dying of pancreatic cancer. By the time you lost everything, he had weeks to live. Through the jet window, I watched New York approaching.
The penthouse occupied the entire top floor overlooking Central Park. When the elevator doors opened, I stepped into a world I'd only seen in movies. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed Manhattan like a painting. Original artwork lined the walls. A library with thousands of books behind glass cases. "Mr. Gomez's study is this way," Blackstone said. The study had a massive mahogany desk and a wall-mounted screen. Blackstone gestured to a leather chair. "The video will play once. Mr. Gomez was very specific about that. I'll be in the next room." He pressed a remote. Uncle Caleb appeared on screen. He looked exactly as I remembered him, but ravaged by illness. His suit hung loose on what had once been a powerful frame, but his eyes were sharp, intelligent, alive with purpose. "Hello, Charlie." His voice was stronger than his appearance suggested. "If you're watching this, Harold found you living on the streets. I know because I've been watching you for years. But you, Charlie, you were the one I was waiting for." He leaned forward. "The condition is this. Within 5 years, you must help at least 100 people escape homelessness. Real, documented help. Jobs, housing, medical treatment, addiction counseling, whatever it takes. Harold will oversee a trust to verify each case. If you fail or refuse, everything goes to Riley Rivera." My chest tightened. 100 people. "You're wondering why," Caleb continued. "Let me tell you something no one knows. In 1967, I came back from Korea broken. I lived on New York streets for 2 years, too damaged to ask for help. A man named Morrison found me behind his bookshop one winter, delirious with fever. He didn't just give me food. He gave me a job, a purpose, a room above his shop. He saved my life." The camera angle shifted. "I built my fortune from that second chance. But I also became paranoid, isolated. I watched our family from a distance. Your cousin who steps over homeless people in disgust. Your brother who had security remove a veteran from his store last Christmas." Each word felt like a judgment. "But you, Charlie, do you know what my investigators reported? Your first week on the streets, starving, you found half a sandwich and gave part to an elderly woman crying from hunger. Last month, you spent your only $5 on antibiotics, not for yourself, but for your veteran friend with an infected wound. 63 separate incidents of you helping others when you had nothing. He smiled slightly. That's why you inherit everything. But here's what your relatives won't know. Riley is facing financial ruin. George left her 3 months ago for his secretary. She mortgaged the house to invest in one of George's schemes that went bankrupt. I actually laughed. The irony was perfect. If you refuse or fail, she inherits everything. The woman who destroyed you, who said you'd die unloved in the street, becoming rich from your failure. I thought the poetry might motivate you. He coughed, a rattling sound. But here's the secret, nephew. The 100 people you save, that's not really the test. The test is whether you can accept help yourself, whether you can transform this gift into something meaningful instead of letting bitterness destroy you. He leaned back. And one more thing. Morrison's full name was Morrison Smith. He was your grandfather, your father's father. The man who saved me was your blood, though neither of us knew it. My vision blurred. Grandpa Morrison had died when I was 10, but I remembered him. Quiet, kind, always slipping dollar bills into our pockets. So you see, this isn't random. Your grandfather saved me. I'm saving you, and you'll save others. That's how goodness survives, passed hand to hand like a flame that refuses to die. The screen went dark, then showed one final message. You have 24 hours to decide, but I know your answer. You're a Smith. Welcome home, nephew.
Blackstone entered quietly. Mr. Smith, what is your decision? I stood up, wiping my face, thinking of Tom sorting his cans, of the elderly woman clutching her sandwich piece, of all the invisible people waiting for someone to see them. I'll do it, I said. Not for the money, not because of Riley. I'll do it because my grandfather would have wanted me to, because it's what we do. Blackstone smiled, the first genuine emotion I had seen from him. Mr. Gomez said you'd say exactly that. Within a week, I'd established the Hartley Foundation. The first office was small, just a converted storefront. Tom was my first hire. Don't make them come to us feeling like beggars. Give them dignity. Give them choices. We developed programs where people could choose their path. Some needed rehab first, others needed mental health treatment. Some just needed a chance. Each person got a caseworker and a mentor who'd been where they were. The third person we helped was Agnes, the elderly woman I'd shared food with months earlier. When we got her into senior housing with benefits she didn't know she qualified for, she cried for an hour. I thought I'd die on the streets, she said. By month 6, we'd helped 37 people. Each success was documented, but more importantly, sustained. We didn't abandon them. We followed up, provided ongoing support, celebrated victories. That's when Riley showed up. She looked different. Desperate in a way I recognized because I'd worn that expression. Her designer clothes were the same from our divorce, but hung loose now. The BMW was gone. "Charles," she said, standing in the doorway like she wasn't sure she could enter. "I heard about your inheritance, about what you're doing." "What do you want, Riley?" "George left me for his secretary. The house is in foreclosure. I've been staying with friends, but..." She couldn't meet my eyes. "I was wrong about everything. You're worth 100 Georges." I looked at this woman who destroyed me, who'd laughed at my ruin. The old me would have felt satisfaction. The street me would have told her to try the dumpsters. But the man Uncle Caleb challenged me to become saw something else, a human being in pain. "I can't be with you again, Riley. That bridge is burned." "I know. I'm asking if you could help me find a job. Something simple. I'll work. The foundation helps people experiencing homelessness. You're not there yet." "I will be next week." I gave her a business card for a regular employment agency. They're good people. "But Riley, this is all you get from me. No money, no special treatment. You need to rebuild your own life." She nodded, tears streaming, and left without another word. Blackstone entered quietly. Mr. Smith, what is your decision? I stood up, wiping my face, thinking of Tom sorting his cans, of the elderly woman clutching her sandwich piece, of all the invisible people waiting for someone to see them. I'll do it, I said. Not for the money, not because of Riley. I'll do it because my grandfather would have wanted me to, because it's what we do. Blackstone smiled, the first genuine emotion I had seen from him. Mr. Gomez said you'd say exactly that. Within a week, I'd established the Hartley Foundation. The first office was small, just a converted storefront. Tom was my first hire. Don't make them come to us feeling like beggars. Give them dignity. Give them choices. We developed programs where people could choose their path. Some needed rehab first, others needed mental health treatment. Some just needed a chance. Each person got a caseworker and a mentor who'd been where they were. The third person we helped was Agnes, the elderly woman I'd shared food with months earlier. When we got her into senior housing with benefits she didn't know she qualified for, she cried for an hour. I thought I'd die on the streets, she said. By month 6, we'd helped 37 people. Each success was documented, but more importantly, sustained. We didn't abandon them. We followed up, provided ongoing support, celebrated victories. That's when Riley showed up. She looked different. Desperate in a way I recognized because I'd worn that expression. Her designer clothes were the same from our divorce, but hung loose now. The BMW was gone. "Charles," she said, standing in the doorway like she wasn't sure she could enter. "I heard about your inheritance, about what you're doing." "What do you want, Riley?" "George left me for his secretary. The house is in foreclosure. I've been staying with friends, but..." She couldn't meet my eyes. "I was wrong about everything. You're worth 100 Georges." I looked at this woman who destroyed me, who'd laughed at my ruin. The old me would have felt satisfaction. The street me would have told her to try the dumpsters. But the man Uncle Caleb challenged me to become saw something else, a human being in pain. "I can't be with you again, Riley. That bridge is burned." "I know. I'm asking if you could help me find a job. Something simple. I'll work. The foundation helps people experiencing homelessness. You're not there yet." "I will be next week." I gave her a business card for a regular employment agency. They're good people. "But Riley, this is all you get from me. No money, no special treatment. You need to rebuild your own life." She nodded, tears streaming, and left without another word.
My daughter Bethany reached out 3 months later. "Dad, I saw an article about your foundation," she said over the phone, "about the people you're helping. Mom told me lies about why you disappeared. Can I volunteer?" That's how I got my daughter back, not through millions, but through service. She came every Saturday, helping serve meals, organizing donations, sitting with people and listening. She was particularly good with younger homeless, the runaways who trusted her in ways they couldn't trust adults. By year 3, we'd helped 86 people. Some failed, relapsed, disappeared back into the streets. That was the hardest part, accepting not everyone could be saved. But most succeeded, finding jobs, reconnecting with families, rebuilding lives they thought were lost. By year 5, I'd helped 103 people escape homelessness. The foundation had grown with other donors joining. Tom had become a respected expert speaking at conferences about dignity and social services. Bethany was studying social work in college. Standing in that penthouse where Uncle Caleb died alone, I finally understood the real inheritance wasn't money. It was proof that kindness creates circles, that helping others comes back in ways we never see. I found an old photo in Uncle Caleb's desk from my grandfather's funeral. In the back, standing alone, was a younger Caleb. He'd come to say goodbye to the man who saved him. On the back, in Caleb's handwriting, Morrison Smith, 1910 to 1985. You saved me without asking for anything. I'll pay it forward. And he had, through me, through the 100 lives we changed, through the thousands more the foundation would help. Uncle Caleb learned it from my grandfather. I learned it from the streets. And somewhere out there, someone we helped would learn it too, passing it on. That's how the world changes. Not through $47 million inheritances, but through one person helping another, creating chains of compassion that stretch across generations. My grandfather started it with a desperate veteran behind his bookshop. Uncle Caleb continued it with his fortune and his faith in me. Now it's my turn to keep the chain going, one life at a time. Standing in that penthouse, no longer homeless, but never forgetting what it felt like, I finally understood what Uncle Caleb meant about accepting help. It wasn't weakness to take someone's hand. It was the first link in a chain that would eventually pull someone else to safety. The fortune wasn't my ending. It was my beginning. So here's my question for you. Have you ever passed someone on the street and wondered what their story was? Have you ever been one crisis away from losing everything yourself? Maybe it's time to see the homeless not as statistics, but as humans with stories, with dignity, with potential. I'm Charles Smith, and this has been my story. If this resonated with you, if it made you think differently about the people you pass every day, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And if you're new here, welcome to Hidden Hearth, where we explore stories about compassion over judgment, second chances instead of condemnation. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest stories. Until next time, remember, we're all just one act of kindness away from changing someone's entire world. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.